Hi, I hope you guys are well. I asked on my Instagram what sort of yoga flow would you guys like to do, and you voted for a gentle yoga flow. So that's what we are doing today, if I can get my words out. Now I've got a couple of yoga blocks and I've also got a yoga strap. So if you don't have those things, don't worry about it. You don't have to use the yoga blocks if you don't want to. They are optional. The yoga strap that I am going to use for stretching out kind of the legs and the hips and things like that. So if you don't have a yoga strap, go pause this and get yourself like a belt or a scarf, something like that, that you can just use instead of a yoga strap. But it's definitely worth investing in one. Once you've got one, you're kind of using it for life. And it's the same with the blocks as well. It's not like you're going to have to keep repurchasing it. They're fantastic. So go get some of those or think about it. Anyways, let's get started. I'm using one yoga block. I'm going to lay myself down first. I'm going to slide that just underneath the sacrum area, so just kind of above or midway along the butt cheeks. You'll feel if it's right or if it's wrong, because if it's too high, you're going to really feel it in your lower back, so you want to slide it down, like I said, along the sacrum. If you don't have a yoga block with this one, you can still follow along with this, so please don't worry. Now I'm starting off with the knees bent. That feels so much better for me and my back. And what I'm going to do is just make a little bit of extra effort to lengthen the tailbone. It'll feel like you're doing a slight little pelvic tilt. Try and hollow out through the waistline. Breathe into the belly. So maybe palms of the hands, one palm of the hand on the belly, one hand to the chest, or both hands on the belly now. And close the eyes. Take a deep inhale through the nose. And then a long exhale out through the mouth. Already that feels so much better. Let's do that again. Big inhale through the nose. A long exhale out through the mouth. So making everything nice and simple. Now whenever you're ready, we're going to allow the hands to rest down by the sides of the body now. You can turn the palms to face upwards towards the ceiling. And we're going to take one leg at a time to stretch up towards the ceiling. So especially if you're balancing here on the blocks, you might feel it's quite nice here for the back. If you're not working with a block or a cushion, then I really want you to focus on pressing your entire spine down into the floor. And we're just going to point and flex the feet. So just work on any tightness here in the ankles. I've definitely got that going on today. So I'm needing these. And then I'm going to circle the feet round. And not forgetting to go the other way as well. I think when you've got your feet up in the air, you always kind of look at your feet and go, I really need to sort my feet out. Gandalf feet coming into play. Okay, so whenever you're ready, we're going to rebend the knees, and you're going to keep hold of your right knee, interlace the hands around it, and then you can either bend the left knee and just pop the foot down towards the floor, or you can extend the leg all the way out in front. It's a bit more intense. Obviously, if you're doing this one laying down, you'll still be able to kind of lengthen the tailbone towards the heel, but if you're working with a block like I am, you'll focus more on probably trying to open up through the hips just a tad more as the hips are kind of lifted. So some nice deep breaths. And this one is all about patience. It's just giving your hips that time to unfold and unwind, especially if you've been doing lots of hours sitting down or you've not had time to stretch out recently. So we're going to change sides from here. I'm going to draw the left leg in, kind of lock it in place, so to speak, and then let that right leg extend and do its thing. But I really want you to focus on lifting this left knee upwards towards the left shoulder. So keep breathing. Nice deep breaths. And then we're going to slowly lower down. Okay, so we're going to slide the block out the way now. Okay, so just move your prop out the way. Okay, and we're going to take it into a twist. So I'm taking both feet off the floor for this one, knees in towards the chest. Bring your arms out to the sides into a T shape. So anchor your shoulders and your hands down and slowly take both knees over towards one side and turn your head the other way. So at this point, it doesn't matter which way because you're going to go the other way anyways in a minute. But try and take your top knee further over and you'll feel that difference. Like if I don't and I'm quite passive, I'm still getting the twist but not as much from it. So if I try and take this top knee over a bit more further to the side, I get more of an intense stretch there for the spine. So it depends on what you want and what you need. Obviously listen to your body. And then come back to center and you're going to float the legs over towards the other side for a twist. Oh my goodness, I can really feel that today. I'm going to see if I can take that knee just a little bit further over, although my body is definitely telling me on this side to, yeah, just take it easy. And then from here, come back to center. Now we're going to take bridge pose next. So it's classed, or some people class it as like a mild back bend, but it's really good for the back and it's really good for increasing that circulation to the buttocks and to the legs. So can you see how my back is off the ground? It's like a natural habit for me. It's terrible. So I need to hug the ribs in, navel to spine, take care of my back by focusing on my core as well. Knees are bent. Knees and feet are in alignment there with the hips. Press the hands down into the floor, and then this extra bit that I always have to remind myself to do is press the shoulders down into the floor as well. Okay, so once I've done that, I can start lifting the hips up towards the sky. And you don't want to sort of just thrust the hips upwards, but you really want to think about lifting up through the hips by pressing down strongly through the feet. And then I'm going to wriggle the shoulder blades a bit closer together now. Wriggle, wriggle. To lift the chest up a little bit higher. So don't let your knees splay up to the sides. And we're going to lift the heels off the ground. So wear your highest heels. Lengthen your tailbone towards the backs of the knees. And don't want you to bring your knees together. But imagine that you're trying to magnetize your inner thighs to come together. Lots of breathing. Taking one more breath. And then you're going to set the heels back down, wriggle the shoulder blades, and then roll down the spine one vertebrae at a time. Last thing to touch the floor is the tailbone. Yay! Okay, so we're going to roll ourselves up to come to a seated position. Ta-da! All right. How do you feel? Let me know. You can always chuck me a comment and let me know how you're getting on with these. And if you like this one, you might want to do some more, so let me know about that as well. So we've got shoulders above wrists, hips stacked above the knees, and I'm just going to roll the shoulders away from the knees just a few times. Nice deep breaths. And then from here, we're going to come up into downward facing dog. So tuck the toes underneath and lift the hips up towards the sky. Push away the floor and roll the shoulders away from the ears, pressing down through the juicy parts of the thumbs. So you're going to gently sway the hips side to side. Try not to sort of exaggerate this one too much. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but this time I want it to be really subtle, just allowing the hips to sway. Good. And then from here you're going to come back down onto the knees and we're going to thread the needle next. So I want you in this tabletop position, all fours. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the right hand up towards the sky, and this right hand is going to go through this gap just behind that left wrist. Try and set the shoulder and the side of the head down towards the floor. I'm not going to lie, this one is always a really intense one on me, and I feel like my breathing really changes. So I'm really sorry if my voice has changed. I'm trying to breathe, trying to teach. But yeah, heaps of breathing, being really kind to your body. And then you're going to come out of it. So you're going to press down through the left hand to push your way back up. Ooh. And then you're going to go over to the other side. So take the left hand up and then thread that arm through. So keep the arm straight, palm of the hand facing up towards the ceiling. You might even be able to look up towards the ceiling. This side is so much easier on me. I feel like I can kind of breathe and talk. So I've obviously got some work to do today. Keep breathing, Keep going with that twist. And then press down through the right hand to come back up to center. Again, we're going to come into downward facing dog. But this time, once you are here, roll the shoulders away, head down, so try not to look up. You're going to alternate between bending and straightening out the legs. All right. So you can see I'm not walking anywhere. Some people call it walking the dog. I'm just looking to get some movement here. It's really good for the calves and for the ankles, the hamstrings, a nice way of stretching out the legs. And then I'm going to come back down onto all fours and into cat and cow. So relax the toes there behind you. Start rounding the spine, coming into that cat stretch, head down, tailbone down in between the knees, and then move it here into your cow pose. Lift your chin and your sit bones up towards the sky. Your belly kind of moves downwards here. And then again into that cat stretch, rounding the spine, into that rainbow shape. And then into cow pose. You can do 2 more rounds of that, so it's a really nice rinse out for the spine. It's a good reminder for the back and for the neck to stay nice and mobile. 1 more round now. Okay, so from here you're going to be tucking the toes underneath, lifting up into your downward facing dog, and then come up really high onto the balls of the feet and walk the feet forwards towards the hands. If you need to walk the hands to the feet, that's okay as well. Now I'm taking over with my blocks here. I'm going to step back a little bit, I think. All right, and what I want you to do is just have the blocks. If you're using them, of course, you can always use a step or a coffee table if you need to. I'm just using this to bring the floor to me, so I'm not fighting to find the floor, okay? Now, if your knees are bent, that's absolutely fine as well. Now, push away from the floor or from whatever you're working with today, and then you're going to rock backwards and forwards. Now, come up onto the tippy toes, onto the, where your highest heels, and then back onto the heels, rock backwards. Navel to spine. Nice and active. All right, now we're going to walk on the spot. All right, so you alternate between bending and straightening the legs. Now, if you are working with your blocks today, then you'll be able to flip them over if you want to make them a little bit higher. Again, bringing the floor up to you, so it's not like you're fighting to find the floor. If you're working with your coffee table, you're going to be a bit higher than me most likely, and that's okay as well. All right, so from here, we're going to come back down. And we're going to come down into a forward fold. So feet hip distance apart, hanging down nice and heavy. You might find that you want to just rest the hands there onto the blocks, or rest the elbows onto them or onto your coffee table, for example, and hang down nice and heavy. So you can either set some weight back into the heels, but preferably some weight forwards here, so that way they're onto the soles of the feet nice and evenly now. All right, good. Take another breath. You can let go of the blocks and you can hold on to the legs now if you want to. And imagine that you're trying to lift your calves and your hips really high up towards the ceiling as you pour your body down. So your hinge point should be from the hips and not from the back. Okay, so that's where practicing things like cat and cow can really help us. All right, so whenever you're ready, we're going to inhale, lift up halfway into Ardha. So maybe position hands to your prop if you want to, or hands to shins. Inhale, lift up halfway, and then on your exhale, forward fold back down. We'll do that 1 more time. Inhaling to lift up halfway, exhaling to forward fold. All right, so I'm going to use the blocks for this one. Like I said, if you don't have them, don't worry about it. I'm going to be stepping back with that left foot going into a low lunge from here. All right, so just make sure that the feet are hip distance apart. It's a nice stretch going on with the hips. We're going to lower the back knee down towards the floor, relax the back toes. You can slide your blocks in if you're using them, or just position hands to hips. Roll the shoulders back and away and just hang out here. Super good for the hip flexors, really nice for the psoas muscles as well. Just all-rounder, really good for the hips, pelvis and back. You can rest the hands there onto the knee or onto the thigh as well. Lift your gaze point as well. It starts helping you to practice your elements of your crescent lunge. And breathe. So next up, we're going to move into Ardha Hanumanasana, half monkey pose. And we're going to shift our weight back. So straighten out the front leg. If I move this block out of the way, I'm flexing the front foot. Okay, you can flip your blocks over to the lower setting or don't use them at all if you don't need to. I'm going to shuffle that front foot forwards a bit more. I still want this front foot to back knee hip distance so I'm not falling over. And then next up, I'm going to forward fold down by bending the elbows. Again, try and crease through the hips as you forward fold down. So, like I said, don't feel like you've got to make things complicated with the blocks. You might find that you use them for a bit and then you don't use them. It's not a problem at all. You can point and flex this front foot if you want to. It really could get into some nitty-gritty areas there of the ankles and of the calves, and it might make you stay in the pose for a bit longer. Alright, so we're going to change legs. So we're going to do again low lunge and then Ardha Hanumanasana on the other side. If you need to shuffle that front foot in a bit more, step forwards, and then you've got the other side to do. Okay, so we're stepping back with the right foot, feet hip distance apart, sink down into your lunge. Nice deep breaths. Ready to lower the back knee down towards the floor, relax the back toes and sliding on up. So it's your choice of where you're positioning the hands. For some people it doesn't make any difference at all, but for others it does. So just see what works for you. I think I'm so used to coming to crescent lunge where the hands are lifted up towards the sky. It's like something that I want to do, but at the same time, like, you don't have to do it every time. You don't have to like work on the pose in full. It's okay to, it's okay to mix it up, do your own thing. So next up, I'm going to move into Ardha Hanumanasana. So I'm going to slowly shift the weight back. Ta-da! Straighten up this front leg. I'm going to shuffle it forwards a bit more because you want your hip just above your back knee. You don't want to be sitting down on the heel or anything like that. And then I'm going to add in my forward fold. So on my next exhale, slowly come down. Like I said, you might want to stick with the blocks, so you might be ready to kind of move them away. And sometimes I'll flex that front foot more using the one hand to peel the foot, or other times pointing and flexing the front foot. It just helps me to stay in the pose for a little bit longer and work on some extra parts of the body that might feel neglected. Okay? Oh, I can feel that today. So you don't want to push to the point of like pain. It's kind of finding that fine balance, I think. So I know I can go lower, but just because I can go lower doesn't mean I should be going lower. And it doesn't mean that it's not effective. Like, this is great where I'm at right now. I'm happy with this place. And where you are right now, you should be happy with that too. So we're going to come forwards and step forwards into Uttanasana, into our forward fold, tuck the toes underneath. Step forwards from here and hang down nice and heavy. Now, you can use blocks or no blocks. So I'm going to separate the feet about sort of double shoulder width. So I've gone off mat here. As long as you're happy going off the mat as well, then as long as you're not wearing socks, you're not slipping over, we're good to go. Lift the hips up nice and high, roll the shoulders away from the ears. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend the knees and hold on to the elbows. Now if you're like me and you find the floor quite easily, having shorter legs and longer body, then you might need to narrow your stance for this next bit, because you're going to sway side to side. And loosen off. So remember, the head is down. Try not to look up at what I'm doing. This will kind of crease the neck for you, and I really want you to focus on your breathing and what you're doing and how you're feeling. It should feel very freeing. Okay? And then from here, you're going to sway your way back to center. Inhale, lift up halfway. exhaling to forward fold back down, and we're going to move here into plank once I've adjusted some clothing. So come to the hands, set them into the mat shoulder width apart. You might need to bend the knees a bit more, and then walk the feet back 1 foot at a time. All right, I feel like my whole life is all about adjusting yoga clothing. So from here, you're going to find your plank. It could be mermaid plank, or it could be a plank like I'm doing right now, and then close the eyes. Take some nice deep breaths, pressing down through the juicy parts of the thumbs, shoulders sitting away from the ears. And reopen the eyes. Lift the hips straight up into your downward facing dog, pushing away your yoga mat. Roll the shoulders away and gently sway the hips again, side to side. Okay, so next up from here, you're going to come into lizard lunge. So what I want you to do is lift your head up and take this left foot forwards. Doesn't matter if you need to shuffle the foot, I don't mind about that at all. You can make your yoga look pretty later on in your practice, but your left foot has been stepped forward by the outside of your left hand. Set the back knee down towards the floor, relax the back toes, and you should have your knee just above your ankle and be on the sole of the foot. So if that's not happening for you right now, do it now. Shuffle that foot into position, okay? Now you're going to sway the hips side to side. If you're struggling with sciatica or back pain, I'd rather you not sway side to side. So just be really mindful with that one. It's all about listening to your body and doing the variations that serve you right here, right now. So if last year you could do this, but this year it's not possible, don't worry about what you did last year. It doesn't matter. Focus on the now. So I'm going to come down onto one elbow, the right elbow, I believe. Now, if you've got a prop, you might want to lower down onto your block right now, or you might be freestyling it and slowly lowering down onto the floor. So be mindful of the hip, okay? And you could wrap the left arm around the left leg. That's quite nice as well. Lots of breathing. You might find that you're ready to take over with both elbows now coming down towards the floor. If you're still on the hands, then what I would suggest is that you play around with bending the elbows, okay? So bend the elbows and trying to get the chest a little bit lower. So I work with yoga blocks in my practice, and I use them not all the way throughout, but I'll use them until I feel like they're kind of done doing what I need them to do, and then I'll pop them in front of me. So it's not kind of seen a lot, I find, in yoga videos and tutorials and stuff, but I'm just being honest with you that I use these all the time. Okay, so I'm going to come back up and I'm going to change sides. So I'm going to come back up onto the palms, shoulder width apart with the hands, tuck the toes underneath, lift up into downward facing dog. All right, and then change sides from here, head up, lift up the hips and take the right leg forwards. So if you feel quite compact and your hands are quite back, can you see how I'm kind of losing my torso is kind of shrunk from here? If I walk the hands forwards, I get really nice long lines here in the body. I feel like I get so much more from the pose. So just make sure you've got your right knee just above the right ankle. The feet should be about shoulder width apart now with lizard lunge rather than hip distance. Lower the back knee down. And again, if you want to, you can sway around side to side, but only if that feels good. If not, then I would just hold the pose, hold the stretch, and just see how you feel. Okay, so we're just preparing the body, getting ready to come down onto one or both elbows. Or like I said, if you can't come down onto the elbow, I bend the elbows instead and try and offer the chest and heart a bit lower. I have the left elbow down and the right arm hugging around the right leg, doing heaps of breathing. I'm trying to decide, like, when am I ready to come down onto both elbows? You can still sway around here if you want to, but again, if you're looking for stability here within the hips and with the back, you might want to hold in stillness for some time rather than just always rocking, okay? You don't always have to use that, go down that route. Okay, so now I'm down on the floor now with the elbows. And again, using my breathing, patience, and listening to my body the whole time. So I'm going to come out of this and into my downward facing dog. Palms of the hands down onto the floor now, shoulder width apart, tuck the toes underneath, lift the back knee and thigh, and step back here into a downward facing dog. Now this time we're going to walk the feet back into plank pose. All right. And once you're in your plank, you can either take the knees down first or come into a Chaturanga Dandasana down, lifting up into Cobra Pose. So find yourself in Cobra, roll your shoulders back, press the tops of the legs and the feet deep into the mat here. Lift up through your pelvic floor muscles. Lots of breathing. Radiate that chest and heart to come forward, so really try and wrap the shoulder blades to hug into the upper back from here. And then whenever you're ready, I'm going to push back into child's pose. Now with this child's pose, I'm going to use the blocks. Like I said, you don't have to if you don't want to. But what I'm doing with the blocks for this one is I'm going to go onto the highest point with them here. Okay. And I've got my knees about shoulder width apart, big toes touching together. Just don't overlap the feet. All right. And then hands onto the blocks, stretch your arms as far as you can forwards, and then let the chest and heart pour downwards. So it's a nice mild stretch here for the shoulders. Heaps of breathing. And if you aren't working with blocks, try taking the hands forwards, but turn the palms of the hands to face upwards towards the ceiling instead. It works on that external rotation of the shoulders nicely. Whenever you're ready, slowly come all the way up. Bring the legs around. So you want to sit yourself down on your yoga mat. I'm just going to move the blocks out the way there for yourself, so you're not kind of crashing and colliding into them. Now the next pose that we're doing, we're going to come into seated forward fold. So if you're using yoga strap, use the buckle side to hold onto, I'd recommend, rather than it flailing around everywhere. Feet are in front of you, hip distance apart. You can have the big toes touching together though. Flex the feet as if they're against a wall, and believe it or not, strong legs. So you do want to feel like you're engaging the legs. The kneecaps will kind of lift up into the thighs, the quads will be quite strong and engaged, and then you wrap the strap around. That's if you're using them. You can always use a scarf or freestyle it with the hands instead. So I wouldn't start off here where there's lots of slack. I would start somewhere where the arms are quite long. Now, go back to your cat and cow. No, not cat stretch. You can lead with cow pose, but I would say lead somewhere in the middle of that. And you want to hinge from the hips, not round through the spine. So if you're confused, practice your cat and cow first and then come into this pose. All right, so whenever you're ready, we're going to be breathing in. Breathing out, start forward folding. Now I'm going to stop right here. Okay, why? Because I'm not focusing on the end point. I'm just focusing on enjoying where I'm at right now. I'm going to exhale again. I'm going to see if I can go down just a little bit further. Yeah, so it's okay, isn't it? It's nice when you're not focusing on the end result. It's nice when you're able to focus just on the process, or the journey as some people call it. I'm going to see if I can go down a little bit further. And what I want to do is I want to feel as if I'm trying to reach my heels forwards. I'm going to wriggle my feet forwards, even by like a couple of millimeters makes all the difference. Keep flexing the feet. You can hold onto the feet if you can, and peel especially the little toes towards you. Keep those legs nice and engaged, navel to spine. And if you feel ready, then of course you can lower the head down. So there's no such thing as a flat back, so your back will slightly dome, but what I don't want you to do is have a massive gap between your body and the thighs and be rounding the spine like this. If you're like this and there's a gap between the chest and the thighs, that's okay. So no rounding the spine if possible. Whenever you're ready, you're going to slowly come up, and we're still going to be using our strap for the next pose. So what I want you to do is keep hold of it, all right, and lay yourself down. So once you've laid yourself down on your back, walk the heels towards the back side. Try and press your entire back into the floor there, slightly hugging the ribs in, navel to spine. We're going to be lifting our left foot up towards the ceiling, and what I want you to do is hook the strap on to start off with, all right? Again, working with the buckle if you're using that in the one hand so it's not floating around in your face, especially when the leg is high up in the air. So what you want to do is keep the leg in alignment there with the hip / shoulder. That's the key to it. Don't bring that foot in towards your center line. And you want to feel like you're trying to lift your heel really high up into the air, okay? Lots of breathing. If you feel ready, then by all means straighten out that right leg in front, but that can make it more intense, so it depends on what you want. That might be a good thing, that might be a bad thing at this point. Heaps of breathing going on and lots of patience. So I can feel the leg shaking, so I'm going to back off a little bit. All right, so I don't want to sort of be attacking side kind of nerves at this point. I want to be letting my body know that this is a safe space. What you're doing right now is good for you, it's nurturing. It doesn't have to go into like freeze mode where you're putting incredible amounts of stress into your body. Quite the opposite. Okay, and then I'm going to change sides. So I'm going to ease off of it. You can see I loosen off the strap. And then what I do is I get the right foot to take over. All right, and there we go. So now I can focus on this right hand side. I've worked my way up nearer towards the foot, so I've not got lots of slack with the strap here. All right, keep the leg in alignment there with the hip. So I can feel this leg's tighter, which is normally not the case. It's normally the other way around, so I don't know what's going on with my body. All right, so I'm going to straighten out the left leg. But then again, I might go back to bending the left knee if it sort of is getting too intense. Again, keep lifting the heel nice and high up towards the ceiling, keeping the leg in alignment with the hip / shoulder, and we're all good to go. With poses like these, you don't need the eyes, so close your eyes. Breathe. Listen to the sounds beyond this room. So it could be, I can hear the leaves blowing. I can hear the wind. I can hear that it's crazy weather right now where I'm at. And then from here I'm going to ease off. I'm just going to pop the yoga strap to the side of me. Bring the knees in towards the chest, give them a good squeeze and hug in towards my body. And I'm going to come into happy baby to seal off my practice. So open the hips out nice and wide. Soles of the feet are going to face up towards the ceiling and hold on to the legs. So it could be that you're holding on to the hamstrings, ankles, or outer edges of the feet like I am. And focus on pressing your entire spine down into the mat. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Take another breath. And whenever you're ready, slowly let go of the legs, roll yourselves up to come to a seated position, and we're going to seal off our yoga practice. So crisscross the legs over if you're happy coming into easy pose like I am now, or you can come into something else. Set the hands there onto the knees and roll the shoulders back. Try and find that imaginary wall behind you. So we're going to inhale, sweep both hands up towards the sky, and slowly bring the thumbs down towards the third eye for your vision and dreams. Down towards the mouth and throat for clear speech, good conversation, immunity. Down towards the chest and heart for love, compassion. And finally down towards the lower part of the belly for good instincts, fire, and healthy digestion. Namaste. Thank you so much. I really hope you enjoyed doing this gentle yoga flow with me. It's a little bit different, I know, to some of the previous videos that I've done, but I will say, please come back to doing gentle styles or gentle postures. They are so good and so nourishing for the body. Yoga isn't to be sort of judged or measured by how many chaturangas or how many like downward facing dogs that you do or anything like that at all. It's all about being present and breathing, listening to your body and listening to what's going on inside and around you as well. I really hope you enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments below how you got on, and if there's any requests that you have, any other types of flows or classes that you want to do or you need help with. And it would be great if I had you as a subscriber as well and you hit the notification button for the next class coming up. I will see you next time on the yoga mat. Have a good day and rest of the week, and I'll see you next time. Bye!